And I know what a scene you were learning in. Was there something that made you come back again? And what could ever lead you?
What could ever lead you?
Back here where we need you.
Back here where we need you.
Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back.
This is Jonathan Lane from Fan Film Factor, and today I am here with Mr. Frank Parker Jr. And I have to apologize to Frank because he's been sort of waiting in my to-do list queue for weeks. And one of the reasons was that I needed to get a haircut. My hair was just getting so long. And Frank, take off your hat. And I
got one just for you, Jonathan.
Yeah, he got his haircut too. And I didn't want to intimidate him. You know, I had so much hair. I felt like I didn't want to, outshine my guest. You know what they say, Frank, about where men lose their hair first? You know what they say about that?
Yeah, it grows on the ears. Trust me.
Well, no, this is interesting. I heard this the other day. So apparently men who lose their hair from the front to the back are great thinkers. And men who lose their hair from the back to the front are great lovers. And men who lose all their hair at the same time think they're great lovers.
That explains a lot. Yes, it does.
And now everybody knows how this interview is going to go. Anyway, I've been wanting to get Frank on for a long time because he is one of the enigmas wrapped in a mystery, mapped in a conundrum, covered in a candy coating of fan films. Because this is going to be a long introduction for Frank, by the way. So my apologies. Just get comfortable, folks. But there's a lot to talk about Frank. So Frank was there at what I like to call the dawn of the third age of Star Trek fan films. Because I consider the first age to be anything that took place like before 2000, 1999 or 2000. That was like, fan films were pretty much just done in people's living rooms and backyards and whatever. And then Hidden Frontier happened and Star Trek New Voyages happened. People started building their own sets. They started doing fan series. And for me, that was the second age of fan films. And that's really cool when you lift that up, your background happens. I love that. But, for me, the second age lasted until probably around 2012, 2013. And that's when we started entering the third age of Star Trek fan films, because you graduated from just having really cool looking sets to really, really having a professional quality, the polished quality that was first was Star Trek Continues, and then was Renegades, and of course Axanar, and that was for me the third age of fan films was that whole very brief time. And I think now we're in the fourth age of fan films, which is the post guidelines world, which is also, there's so much more that can be done with fan films now that, and especially Star Trek fan films. That we just live a whole, yes, we have the guidelines, we have to live with them, but we're just pushing the envelope so much further than we did before. Right. But you were there at the dawn of the third age, which was the end of the second age. So you got your start, if I remember correctly. The first thing I saw on your IMDb page was you appeared in a couple of episodes of the Romulan Wars in 2012. That was out of Tennessee. It's not the same as the Romulan War. That's Mark Naccarato. But no, this was the guys from Tennessee, and you were there. But in 2013, 2014, you were, first of all, I think you were part of the Farragut group for a little bit, Starship Farragut. And then you launched your own fan series. You were the lead character and the showrunner for Dreadnought Dominion. You were Commodore Sam Grissom, and you were going to be captaining the Dreadnought Dominion. It was the only Dreadnought we had in a fan film. It was really cool to see it. And it was great seeing you in those early episodes. It was 2015, it was 2016. We were looking forward to lots and lots of stuff from Frank, and then you disappeared. Poof. gone. As William Shatner said, gone. Where did he go? And really, we had no idea. Out of space. But you were gone. And I mean, the Dreadnought Dominion folks went on without you. And Gary Davis and Randy Wren took over that series. They even dealt with your loss, your leaving. It took them another 3 or 4 years to even get out of space stock. We joke about that. Even they joked about that.
Yeah.
But then suddenly it's 2021, and out of nowhere you come back. So I guess, and to continue the introduction, let me just tell you, you didn't just come back like, oh, hey, I'm back again. Hi, everybody. No, you've appeared in like a bunch of Vance Majors Constar episodes as a fairly significant character. You're not just, one person on the phone with him, although everybody's on the phone with him because that's what his episodes are. It's basically somebody on the phone, somebody on the phone, somebody on the phone. It's the Zoom call of Star Trek fan films. But anyway, but you are a fairly significant character with him, and you call him son, which is odd considering how old Menard is in it. But you do that, and you have a history with him, and I provided some links to this because it's interesting. Vance himself, for those who don't know, was an abused child growing up, and a lot of what he has done with Menard, his character Menard in the Constar Chronicles, is to deal with a lot of his childhood trauma and the resentment he had for his father, whom he did eventually reconnect with as an adult. But you were apparently a friend, or at least your character was a friend of Vance's father, and so there's difficulties in that relationship, which I found very fascinating. The sort of thing you don't usually see in a Star Trek fan film. Vance's stuff does not have that, tight level, high quality, high production quality stuff, but what he lacks in that, he makes up for in character development. So anyway, you came back to do some of those. And then you also were in a few other fan films. You came back to Dreadnought Dominion. You were able to cover up and deal with some of the separation anxiety that you left them with. So you've been in that. You were a character in the new Raincross fan series in their opening episode. And then as somebody can clearly see if they look at your chest over there, that says CROSSROADS Project Gemini, which is your brand new fan series, which has already released an episode that I linked to earlier on. And in a little bit, we'll actually show them the opening credit sequence. And because I'm not done yet, you're not done yet. Frank has not only come back to do all this stuff, and this is just in the last few months, folks, okay? He also, along with Vance Major, has created a regular weekly podcast. I don't even do these things weekly. I can't. I've got to have the time for it. Weekly podcast with a group of people that he manages to get together every week to, it's called Critical, Not Cynical. Mm-hmm. And you do something that I don't have the balls to do, which is to actually review Star Trek fan films. I don't do that. As far as I'm concerned, all Star Trek fan films are amazingly great, and don't complain about them because it's not fair. But you actually were critical, not cynical, from my own fan film for Interlude, so I appeared on your show. But you do that every week, so you have not only come back, but you have come back with a vengeance, my friend. So that leads to the question: we want to crack this egg. We want to separate this veil and peer inside. What happened? Where did you go? Why did you leave? And as the song says, what made you come back again?
Wow.
I know. That was like, okay, well, that's all the time we have, folks. So we'll see you next time.
One of the things that you did miss, because I don't think it's on my IMB, is I also played a very small part in a fan film, or you could say it's a fan film called Cosmos with a K.
Oh,
And this was done by an Italian filmmaker who, out of the blue, contacted me. I guess he had seen what I had done with Lee and said, would you like to play a British type general? So I in there a couple of times as I think it was Neville Jones. So I have
Neville Jones. Did you actually have the British accent? Because they and in Italy they probably don't even notice.
No, they probably no. I spoke pretty much. I mean, it was sort of like that, type of accent. But I mean, I took a Civil Air Patrol hat and I took an old work shirt from Dickies that was tan and put Maquis insignia on this. It was just crazy. So so that was another one of those things. Yeah. Where did I go? Okay. Well, as you said, I was at either the very tail end of the second or the third, because it was around that time.
Tail end of the second or the beginning of the third, the dawn of the third.
Yeah, in that area, because I was very heavily into Farragut at the time. I had met them when I was convention chair at Con Carolinas in 2000. And I want to say 2010, 9 or 10, someplace around there. And I was part of the group that my first real involvement with Farragut was at the first St. Mary's studio, Farragut Studio 1, before we moved it to Kingsland. So we did Price of Anything there. And that's where I first got involved with that. And then when we went to Kingsland, I talked to Mike after we did a lot of the building. That's how Dreadnought came along.
Mike would be Mike Bednar, by the way.
Yeah, Mike Bednar.
Responsible for those beautiful, beautiful TOS sets that were eventually used by Star Trek Continues. So, you can thank Mike Bednar for most of those. All hail Mike.
The person who actually got me into fan films was Michael Day.
Oh, okay then.
Because Michael Day and John Broughton were at that convention. And Michael and I got to really start talking and stuff like that. And then he said, hey, why don't you come and meet Michael Bednar at, I think it was a Trek, one of the first Trek Atlantas that Eric Watts had. And Michael was there and met Mike. And that next weekend, I was down every other week for like 3 or 4 years, 5 hours this way, 5 hours that way, every other weekend working on those
you're
sets.
coming from Northern Florida, right? Where are you?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina area.
Oh, you're in Charlotte. Oh, I thought you were in Florida. Okay. I had that completely wrong. Okay. So you came from Charlotte, North Carolina, all the way to the bottom tip of Georgia.
Right.
Like so close that you can kind of wave to the border of Florida.
Yeah, it's right on the border. Yeah. Kingsland's right there. Yeah. St. Mary's.
You can hopscotch to it. There's one big jump and you're in Florida. That's pretty, so every other weekend you're just driving 5 hours to go build sets, and because, why not? It's Star Trek. We love it. This is what we do.
I mean, grew up with the original. I mean, I watched the original from that point. Not that I look like I'm that old.
Oh, no. I don't look like I'm not that old either. Actually, this beard is only temporary. Jaden wanted me to be Obi-Wan Kenobi for Halloween. And I was not sure when I started growing the beard if I was going to be young Obi-Wan or old Obi-Wan. Looks like I'm old Obi-Wan down here and I'm young Obi-Wan up here. I don't know and I've got the handlebars. So I basically could be president back in the late 1800s, so.
Either that or Harry Mudd.
Ah, yes. Cold friend.
So where did I go? Okay.
Where did you go?
There was a lot of stuff going on at that time. And I think anybody who was around during those years would probably call them a very, very tumultuous at that point in time. A lot of things were happening. I'm not going to go into the dirty dirt of it. I mean, those things are in the past, but there was just some things that were going on. We lost the rights to doing the sets and stuff like that. And to be perfectly honest, I got very, very emotionally upset about the entire situation.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Let me interject here for a second. So Dreadnought Dominion was the only other fan series to, at the time, be allowed to use the sets that were in Georgia that had been built for Starship Farragut. So Starship Farragut got to use them, and Star Trek Continues got to use them, but they were very, and rightly so, protective of the sets. They didn't want anybody just coming in and using them and potentially damaging them or whatever. They were very serious about them, but you helped to build them. So Dreadnought Dominion was the only other fan series to ever be allowed to use them until Vic Mignogna sold them after Star Trek Continues folded. Actually, it ended its run, and then the sets were sold to Ray Tessie, and now a whole bunch of different fan series use them. But yes, people do know that there was some controversy when Farragut and Star Trek Continued split. And one of the things that happened, as you did say, is that you were no longer welcome there. They were not going to let you film on their sets. Now, you guys, I suppose, could have. I don't know if James Cawley was still doing stuff at that point. I think it was shortly after the guidelines that he closed down his stuff to fan film. So you probably just had Starbase Studios as your lone set option at that point, right?
Yeah, at that point in time, but I really had really no knowledge of the other sets and stuff like that. Gary actually was the one that started talking to Vance after I just shut down completely. It wasn't Dreadnought. There was a couple small things with the productions of the films that I've already discussed with Gary that we've already hashed out. That I was a little resentful on some of the things were done with the actual films. However, what basically it was with me is I was hardcore, and I still am to this day, Farragut. And it hit me hard. To be perfectly honest, it hit me very hard. And I wish it hadn't. But it was one of those things that hit me. I didn't want anything to do with it. One of those little things in life I have is the fact that if I get mad at something, I walk away. And,
well, that's better than getting a shotgun and coming back and shooting at a post office. So yeah, I might as well walk away and not get the shotgun and shoot up a post office. But okay, so you walked away, and it's understandable. But you walked away for 5 years. It took you that long to get over it? Was it that bad?
No, it's funny that it was. I think that if they had, and Donna had said to me, my wife, they want to do Red Medusa, I think they'd want you to come back. And at that time, I got back into an organization that I was a cadet in many years ago called Civil Air Patrol. And after I had left, I started getting re-involved with the organization. I became a squadron commander. And my time at that point for the next 2 years before I was brought in, where I went to became the inspector general for a North Carolina wing, I was doing Civil Air Patrol stuff every week. And I didn't even get back into my music filk until after, when I started winding down after being squadron commander and being, inspector general. And then I started pulling back because I, done a lot of different things there. I gotten a squadron off the ground. So I sat back and said, okay, now it's time to relax and, just, be a staff officer instead of trying to rule things. So Donna and I started singing again together at science fiction conventions as the Nefarious Ferrets. And so we started getting back into a more heavy convention scene with the music, which is another one of my big things that I was doing well before Star Trek. fan films was what we call filk, which is folk music for the science fiction world, and you'll find them a lot of conventions. So I was doing that, and then one day I was sitting there, and I had watched Red Medusa finally. I think it finally came out or something like that, and I went,
Yeah.
wow. Now I don't take anything away from the actor who played me at all. At all. I mean, he filled in. I said, damn, I should have been there. And so I called Gary and I said, I really, would like to help. All I said was, I'd like to help with the production. I said, I know I can't come back. You guys have been doing this. I can't come back and play the captain because that wouldn't be right to you. I said, but what I'd like to do is maybe come back, maybe do a cameo or something like that. And then he says, well, I got an idea. I'm going to have Randy write an entire episode, you coming back, and we'll get it all squared away. I said, great. And we were writing this and everything else. And at this time, I met Vance now very quickly on Vance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if...
Okay, I'm sorry. The words very quickly and Vance should never be used
Never
together.
be used again. Trust me, I know this. Yes. He'd go, hey, Frank, do you want to go on and do a quick... do you want to do a quick stream? Let me see. Let's see if I can clear my calendar for an hour. So anyways.
Love you, Vance. We love you.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I love him. He and I become so close. But the funny thing about it is when I left, and I'm sure he may have covered this in other interviews, and we get a joke out of it. When he started talking to Gary, and Gary started telling the story, Vance hated my guts. Because I left these guys in the middle of a production, no tie-up, left them floundering, and he thought I was the biggest idiot going. So he said to me one day, he says, Gary comes up and says, Frank's back. And I went, what's this crap all about? He said, Gary, you sure you want to work with this guy? So he saw that we were talking and everything else. So kind of, now I had no idea what was going on. So he finally reaches out and says, hi, I'm Vance Major and stuff. And we started talking. And like within, I have to say, it wasn't that long. Within a few weeks, we were getting like that. And it just was so funny how that came out. But that's where this is part of the reason you see this turmoil between Menard and Grissom, because we just decided to keep that animosity going in the films.
and you had it to draw from. Well, what's interesting, though, is that the animosity is almost entirely on Menard's part.
Mm-hmm.
And because honestly, you kind of came into this having no idea, who Vance was. Like, why does this guy hate my guts? So I love that, and here's the thing: a lot of fans don't understand a lot about acting because who does except for actors. I don't. But what I do know is when you're an actor, it helps for you to draw on something you've experienced when you're bringing something out. And I did that myself. And if you want to go look for it, go to the Romulan war stories. And there's one that's called Final Flight, I think it's called. And I am the voice of Lieutenant Jeffrey Christopher. And there is a moment at the end of my recording. I'm recording a log to my wife. And I had to get a little teary at the end of this because I'm basically going on a test of the Warp 7 mission. and the Warp 7 engine. And the Warp 7 engine has basically killed every test pilot in this program now, except for me. And I am basically saying, you know, tell the boys I love them, you know, and when I come back, we'll go to Disney World or something like that. And I had to have this emotion. And of course, I'm doing this in front of my computer. I'm recording it. You know, I'm just looking at the screen. I'm looking at the script, and how could I get there? And I did this to myself, and I don't even know why, but I just imagined not being able to see Jaden grow up. And it affected me so much that while the rest of the rest of my lines were okay or whatever, you know, I tried to whatever. If you just listen to the end, you know, where I'm tearing, I literally am tearing up. I think at that point, Jaden was only like 6. And I just thought of like how small an amount of his life I had, you know, had to experience.
Tell the boys to do their homework. Listen to their mom like they're supposed to. When I get home, we'll take a trip to Florida. Visit the old Kennedy Space Center like we talked about. This is Jeffrey Christopher signing off from Jupiter Station. I love you, Carol. Merry Christmas.
And then I did it several times, every time going into that place. I think it's the first time I've ever really done that which an actor does on a regular basis. So when you were talking about you and Vance having this, you know, you can really see in those episodes where the two of you are going at each other. Now, and you're not doing those together, really.
No.
You know, so the same way I was, you know, just recording, you know, into my computer screen, he doesn't have you against him. It can actually be even more intense when you're with an actor who can give you that energy back. But the two of you really elevate it. You know, I mean, you're not trained professional, you know, Broadway, Hollywood actors, but you take it up to a level that most fans don't get to.
Why did you abandon everything you stood for?
You just wouldn't understand.
If it weren't for people like you, I wouldn't be in this line of work. The least you can do is look me in the eye and answer what I need to know.
Son, I just can't answer that.
Then there's nothing left to say, Sam.
There's nothing left to talk about? Even though your father was closer to me than any of my own family? Damn it! When the Klingons destroyed his shuttle, and then your mother needed help, those memories came flooding back also. Well, I simply had to make a new start here at Starfleet.
My father beat me all my life. And my mother abandoned me. These were not good people.
I know they had their flaws, but they did love you.
You weren't there. You never felt the fists as he hit me. You want to act like he was such a great man. Do it on your own time.
I may not have a lot of time. I'm taking an assignment. Possibly the most dangerous one I've ever had, and I thought that we could...
Well, Admiral, I'll see you out there.
I have to really compliment you on that. This is not even critical or cynical. This is absolutely, you know, sincere praise, which you should have as well. Critical, not cynical, and sincere praise. Add that in a little.
Maybe we'll start another show that's just sincere praise.
Sincere praise. No one's going to watch that. Yeah, you guys did a great job. Let me tell you how good this was. This is fantastic. Hey. Yeah. Same script every week. But yeah, that was very interesting that, you know, you chose to go with that. And I found that because I only watched those episodes recently. I'm like literally like 90 episodes behind on my ConStar watching because Vance he's making them faster than I can watch
Did he tell you about the weekend in July? We did the marathon.
Well, you watched all the episodes?
We started at noon. It was July 17th, and we went to the 18th. And the only person that made it through, God bless his soul, was Michael Sylvester, who was a great loss to the community as it was. So,
oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I get you, I was there. I don't know. I think I was there for like 45 minutes at one point, and then I came back to see if you guys were still doing it, and you were. And I watched like for another 15 or 20 minutes, and I was just like, oh no, I can't do it. I can't. I have to be in the right mental place to watch the Zoom calls that are Menard and Constar. So it's like, and Vance he had Constar Chronicles, Constar Continues, Constar Completed, now Constar Concluded, right?
Yeah, that's what working on this season. Yes.
And then going to be Constar Cadaver or something, and
I think he really kind of wants to retire back from it. He is enjoying, well, right now, he's writing for us, for, as you know, No Budget Productions and Film Fair Productions have combined as working group. And he's doing the writing, for our episodes and stuff like that. And it's a different flavor. I think the playground out there we have right now is fantastic. I mean, we've done stuff with, as a matter of fact, I was asked by Jose Cepeda a few weeks ago to do a little something in one of his films. I know George Kyan has talked about it a couple of times. I know that we're doing one with George called The Pretender, and then we're going to be showing it from both sides. I've got another couple of things in Raincross coming up on another thing. So, this is funny. I don't know what's going to happen here, but Lee Gartrell has reached out and said, I'd like to do a couple more Romulan Wars. And I went, well, we'll see what happens.
You can't stay away.
Yeah.
You can't stay away.
Yeah.
Sam Cockings was joking with me. I was interviewing him at one point about one of his various projects out of Great Britain, and he said, so John, what's your next film going to be? And I wasn't even finished with an interview at the time, and I was just like, can I just finish my current fan film before you ask me? Like, yeah, I just was wondering what the next one's going to be. And I said, well, maybe I'm not going to do a next one. Maybe it's one and done. I mean, I'm kind of exhausted. He said, well, you'll do another one. They always do.
Probably will.
They always do.
Get you in your blood.
It really does. You have to. It's an itch you have to scratch. It just happens. What can I say? Well, anyway, okay. Well, let's transition then over to CROSSROADS Project Gemini. Let me just very quickly interrupt our back and forth to show people what your brand new opening credits animation looks like.
Yes.
And speaking of Samuel Cockings, did Sam do these graphics for you, or is that somebody else?
Yeah, okay. So Sam has done, well, he did the finishing. He had one of his modelers do the basic Gemini. Well, let me explain what very quickly on this. As you said so aptly at the very beginning of this, when I was doing Dreadnought, it was the first Dreadnought out there in fan films. You see, I don't like copying. I love Connie's, but I didn't want a Connie. So I took the Dreadnought. Got Karen's permission from Joseph's estate. It was great. So this time I came around and I said, well, what am I going to do this time? And Gary said, why don't you do a Miranda class? And I said, everybody has Miranda classes.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
So all of a sudden I'm sitting here and I'm going through ships on the internet because I am one of those people, that used to watch ScanDisc. But I saw this thing and it jumped out at me. And it said, Gemini Temporal Cruiser. Where did this come from? Star Trek Online. That's it. Showed it to Gary. Goes, I think you should do a Miranda. I'll split you the model with Sam if you do a Miranda. I says, no, I'll pay for this myself. It's going to be that. So we redesigned it. We put a couple different things in it. Didn't have a shuttle bay. So it's got a shuttle bay. It's got some badass torpedoes. Love it, love it. But it's got a couple other little.
It's a pretty good
things
class of torpedo, by the way. There's the quantum torpedo, the photon torpedo, and the badass torpedo.
That's right. And I've got the badass.
And then the Death Blossom. Don't forget about that.
Death Blossom. So that is where this ship has come across. And so he had one of his people do the modeling. They sent it back, and then he did the fine touches on it. And then I asked him to render me, I think we figured out 6 scenes. So he did that. I had gotten early in touch with Adam Mullen. And I said, I really want something that I can call my own. Now, the original Dreadnought theme is something that I picked up on Creative Commons and bought the license for it, but Gary and Randy changed it completely, and they went with a whole different thing. So I do on our channel have the original on there, so anybody wants to see that. So the music score was done by Adam Mullen, and I really appreciate that. It's fantastic. I've got
Adam is a genius.
Yes, he is. He is, and he gave me just what I wanted. And then Greg Mitchell did the actual putting it all together because I have a propensity to try to do everything myself. And I said, come on, I got to let some of this go. I really need a good PA. Anybody out there who is in the Charlotte, North Carolina area wants to get involved and become a PA for me, and that's production assistant, I'd love it.
Yeah, by the way, PA is just another word for peon.
Yeah, exactly.
You want a man Friday or a woman Friday.
Yeah.
But there's no glory in being a PA. But you get to say, hey, I'm a PA.
So we just got that out, and yes, do you have it, or did you want me to pull it out, or?
No, I will insert it.
Okay.
You will send it to me later. But here it is, the opening credits for Crossroads, Project Gemini. Take a look. That looks absolutely gorgeous. I noticed that pretty much every single ship that you have interacted with was there. So we get some shots of the Dreadnought Dominion and, of course, of the Farragut. So
and the Constar.
And the Constar, yes, of course, Vance Major's Constar. So yeah, and it looks exciting. Now, I remember mentioning to you very briefly about the Harrison, which is the ship, the Gemini class ship that you're on, the USS Harrison, which made it into the very, very final 15 seconds of my Best of Star Trek fan films video. I asked Sam to just render something of like all of the ships just kind of going off into the distance. And, so yours was there. And I think you had actually mentioned to me, you said, is the Gemini there. And at that point, I had no idea what the Gemini was. You hadn't released your first episode yet, and I finally said, "Oh, is that the X-wing?" And I don't think you got it.
I probably not, because I had the Ford nacelle, so you were.
Yeah, but it took me a while for it took me a couple of seconds to explain to you, that your ship, that's the one I'm talking about, the Ford nacelles that looks like an X-wing. I still think it does. So the plot seems to be definitely that there's some temporal something going on here, because you're basically pilfering Vance's crew and apparently trying to pilfer some of the Dreadnought Dominion's crew. Surprised you didn't try to grab Quincy, because if you're going to do temporal, you got to have a way back, and nice to have a cue to just do that.
Well, according to the way Randy has written Quincy, no one is supposed to know Quincy, and that's why. Even though I wanted to pretend that I remembered Quincy, even though he gave me that, for those who've seen Passengers, gave me that mind wipe. I was saying, well, we could always have Tamaro bring it out. Yeah, but then he explained that, it's one of those unwritten rules that nobody can know who Quincy really is. So Understood that.
That's the first rule of Quincy, is nobody knows who Quincy is. And the second rule of Quincy is nobody knows who Quincy is. And the third rule of Quincy is you have to bring your own bagels. So anyway.
Or sit on the bridge with all 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, all 5 or 6 of his personalities. We love John Sims and his various impersonations. What's your impression of John Sims? He does the impression. Ha!
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah, John, actually, I think if I'm correct, when you were saying that, I'm trying to think of when they shot Exeter.
The Exeter Trek. Yeah.
That may have been because John was part of the building crew too. And I know that he had talked to Michael. So I'm not sure whether they shot that before or after. I got the impression they shot it before.
Yeah, I think, Exeter Trek was released, I think, either just before Star Trek Continues came out or shortly thereafter. But I know that Farragut and Continues were still together doing all their stuff. I do know that they shot it once things were moved to Studio 2 in Kingsland. Only because I know that I've seen the wide shot of, for those who don't know, Exeter Trek was essentially just a trailer that was made for a fan film that was never actually made. But what they did was they adapted the TOS bridge set into a Pike era bridge set, and they were very good Pike era uniforms. The really, looks, turtleneck and everything look really, really good.
Yeah, John's a good tailor.
Yeah, you have to be good, good tailoring Star Trek uniforms. Which, by the way, I should compliment you on your mastery of tailored uniforms. You have more tailored uniforms of different, very classy. Here, let me just show you as we chat a look at some of Frank's various accoutrements, shall we say. Here's the Commodore uniform from the very first Dreadnought Dominion.
That was a John Broughton.
Oh, okay, John Broughton from Starship Farragut. And then you appeared later on in a Farragut episode wearing that. Then you have this very, very nice lounge jacket, I like to call it, from Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 4 that you appeared in Vance's fan films wearing. You have your brand new, very, very spiffy Picard era Admiral's uniform.
I love that one.
That is a gorgeous, I want one of those. I really, really do. I can't afford them, but I really do want one. And then, of course, you have this gorgeous J.J. Abrams outfit as well that you've appeared in one of Vance's films wearing. And is there anything else? Do you have other uniforms that we haven't seen yet?
Oh, Lord. Let's see. Let's go all the way back. I have Enterprise jumpsuits, which, by the way, is my favorite uniform of all time. People go, huh? I have a Admiral uniform for Enterprise that Donna and I put together. I found the exact bands.
Oh, okay, cool.
Blue zipper jacket, perfect red and white, plus the bands there, and that I have, I wear with this shirt, black pants or blue pants, whatever I have on those. I have probably the only jumpsuit for Enterprise that has command colors, not yellow, has white and red. See, what a lot of people don't know about me, and I cannot prove this, but years ago, when they started doing the uniforms over in China, they were real easy to work with. So I would write them and say, hey, can you make this for me? And they would go, sure. I'd give them the sizes. So I had to make me one like that. The Enterprise jacket got on the market because I asked them to make me one of those. And I probably have the only one that has the red and white on there because I specifically told them that's what I wanted. There is a black mess dress on there. I was part of an organization called Maquis International. Gary Davis started it.
Mhm.
I have it. It was made like the white dress on Nemesis, and it's all black. And it's still on the site. If you look, it says Maquis International.
Ah,
The first Admiral uniform for Next Gen, the one for Nemesis, I had them create that for me. Mine was the one that they had there for a while. So I have a lot of different uniforms that they started producing.
you were the prototype.
I was the prototype on a lot of them. And I think Gary was the prototype on the female mirror universe one. He got that for Tracy, but my daughter, oh, that's right, he got that one for Tracy. But my daughter, I had them do the one that they wore on Enterprise, and I think she's got the only one of those that have the blue the pants, and then they have the top shirt. So I have Enterprise uniforms. I have TOS uniforms. Plus, Donna made our Romulan for the Farragut, and then I really wish I could figure out where STC got.
That's right. You were a Romulan in The Price of Anything, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. And I was also bridge crew.
And you were also bridge crew in The Price of Anything.
Yeah, I'm one of the first people to come out when he's on the bridge walking out. It's Dan Scanlon and I come walking out of the turbo net.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to look that up and put that into this video as well. Okay, so you've got that. What else?
Okay, so I have definitely the Picard jacket, from Next Gen, the zip up. It's a nice suede one that I got for $50 online. I thought I was going to get outbid for this thing. I mean, it's from the experience, and I got it. They asked 50, I bid 50, got it for 50.
I got one of those from the experience as well. It just doesn't fit me anymore.
Yeah, that's one thing, you got to watch out like I do.
Yeah.
So I have that. And of course, I have the regular command shirt, with the pips. I have the Voyager uniform. I have a Voyager uniform that they sent me the first time that they didn't do it right. So, yeah, they forgot to put the red down on the shoulders. So a couple of years later, Starfleet International, which I'm also a member of, had a
Me too.
Yeah, we had a region 1 summit, and we had a mirror universe. So I took the arms off it, so it's the red top and the black. I've worn this also, and I got the mirror universe things like that. I got some Klingon things and some of the ribbon that went around my Enterprise, and so that's my Romulan plus my crazy wig. So that was my Romulan one.
Yeah, we're going to show that to people right now because I know you do have a picture of that. So poof, or take a look what he's just talking about.
Yeah.
This is what I like to call the biker Trekkie.
Yeah. And you will be seeing, that is a picture for one of the ones that will be coming out for a short scene that I have. So getting up there now. So what do we have after that? Well, I do have some monster maroons. I have to say it, those are not my favorite. If I get a monster maroon, I got the cheap ones. I don't like the way they fit on me. So the next thing I went out and got the vest. You know, that, and that's okay, but I think I think Donna's going to have to bring it down a bit. But then I like the bomber jacket that I got.
The bomber jacket looks awesome.
I love that bomber jacket. I wish I could get a real good reproduction.
Oh, speaking of bomber jackets, I'm going to cut this for just a moment, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to show you what Gary Davis made for me. Don't go away, folks.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Alrighty. Yep. This is what Gary Davis made for me. And it's covered with patches, including, Lane, and of course the Artemis, which is the ship that we created for Interlude. We've got Axanar patches on it because I am an Axanar fan, including the ridiculous number of Axanar patches. Can you see this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
When I was a scout, we called those patch jackets, and I love them.
Oh, yes. And
what we made for Marquis International was a bomber jacket just like that, only they were dark blue. I still have mine. And the Marquis symbol at that time was, the round thing. And then we had a star in the middle a little bit. That's embroidered on the back. And then Marquis International up here. So one thing that Gary is really good at is stuff like this. Did you ever notice on my green wraps that where you have your stripes here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, if you ever notice, mine is solid.
Yeah, yours is Commodore in the middle.
Right, and that was my interpretation of what a Commodore should wear.
It worked.
And
it just doesn't work for anything else. Like, I have no idea what one would do for an admiral.
Yeah, actually, I have figured that out.
Oh.
Okay, so you'd have that up there.
Uh-huh.
1 stripe, 2 stripe, 3 stripe.
Yeah, so you do a threesome.
Yeah, on the sleeves.
Oh, in other words, you would add sleeves there, because I'm just wondering what you would do over here.
No, you would just leave that solid, like the Commodore.
And then you add stuff to the sleeves.
Right.
Afterwards.
So this means flag officer, none is a Commodore, and then 1 would be a rear admiral, 2 would be a vice admiral, then an admiral, and then a fleet admiral.
That could work as well. What I find amusing, though, and most fans don't even stop to think about this, but the very familiar TOS uniforms, with the black collar, those were only used for about 5 or 6 years in Starfleet history. Because we know in the first year of Kirk's 5-year mission, we're still wearing the turtlenecks. And by the time, we had, 2.5 years after the end of the 5-year mission, they were all wearing the pajamas. So, that really familiar, of which this would be, considered part of it. By the way, Gary did not sew on every single one of these patches. That was, I had those done perfect. Yeah. But hate through the nose for it. But anyway, yeah, that's it's only really existed for for like maybe 5 or 6 years, whereas those monster maroons went on for like forever.
I forgot to say it because we're going to be doing another project. I do now have a Pike era shirt, that picked up from Cosmart on there. So
when you say Pike era, are you talking about the original Pike era, or are you talking about the new Pike era?
Hang on 1 second.
Oh, okay.
I just happen to have it out here.
And now we get to see Frank's chair, which I think is a very cool chair. Ah, yes. Lovely.
So we've got something going on with that. And there's going to be a few people are going to be involved with that across the board again. As a matter of fact, I'm sending that's a spare one that I have. I'm going to be sending it off to one of the other people. Okay, so we're up to what?
I think you were up to 97 different uniforms now.
Yeah, okay. Then the next one that I have.
Anything from Star Trek Motion Picture?
Oh, yeah, I do have the Admiral uniform from Star Trek The Motion Picture. They just finished doing that, and both Vance and I have that now, and hopefully we're going to be doing something with that uniform.
That could be cool.
Oh, I just got a new one. I forgot all about this one. It's the Lower Decks one, because I love Lower Decks.
I love Lower Decks too.
I have I binge watched it, and then I picked it up. I think it was on the second episode of this season, and then I've been on top of it. But yeah, I love it, and I can't wait to see it come out again. Just like hopefully eventually. Oh, I have an Orville uniform also.
Oh,
I
man,
have the Admiral and the Captain.
I've got 6 uniforms up in my closet. I think one of them still fits, maybe 2. And at this point, I think you're up to 60 or something. I don't know, but it's pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah, and the Viper jacket's coming in.
Of course, the Viper jacket. The Vipers come to Vipe the windows.
Oh, yeah, I said, I don't need any more. If Star Trek doesn't stop changing the damn uniform every season.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like the queer eye for the straight guy of Star Trek uniform design. But hey, God bless them all.
Donna and I, well, we've cut. We're working on something that is going to be a little bit of a concept uniform that has been discussed before, but we're actually making a prototype of it. And it's sort of going to be between TOS and the motion picture, or how we think the motion picture should have progressed.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we're
working
on that.
Yorktown already kind of did that, or it will be doing it once they get it released. But they have their sort of hybrid, TOS movie era uniforms as well. But I mean, that's anybody can make that. It's fan films. You can do whatever you want.
I've got an experimental ship.
That's true. You do.
I can do anything I want. That's why I love doing something outside the box. I don't have to. For those that don't know, I'm not relying on really any studios. I'm trying to build a bridge in my mother-in-law's garage, very similar to Potemkin Pictures, which I'm going to this weekend. I don't know when this is going to show, but they have a shoot at the end of the week, October. Let's see what today's date is.
Yeah, this will probably be November before I get this up. I got to edit it, and there's other stuff that's coming up as well. So, so Frank will have gone to.
Yeah, I will have been to that, and I'm looking very much forward to that, because not only do I admire Potemkin and Randy's work, as a matter of fact, I will be perfectly honest. If it hadn't been, and I know that a couple people in our old production might disagree with me, but which was one of the things that was going on. And if it hadn't been for Randy Lander's Anchors Away, would not have been released, because we had such a hard time with the filming of that. It was our first time out. We did it the day after Farragut Fest. It was a 12-hour day. The film was all messed up. We didn't set it right. And he took that and put it together to what it was. I know that some work was done on it afterwards, and I'll just leave it at that. But he's the one that initially I had asked to do to get that done. So
it takes a village to make a fan film.
It does. A lot of people don't understand that. When I sit out there and I listen to people who don't critique, they trash. uh, that bothers me. And you know our history and a couple things. But I don't mind criticism. I don't mind critique, because if somebody comes up and says, hey, why didn't you do it this way? I'll think about it and I'll go, yeah, that, or I'll say, nah, it really wouldn't work, but I'll explain why. But you come out and tell me it's horrible, it sucks. Okay, what could I do to make it better? That's all I want to know. You know, if you didn't like it, hit the button, move on.
Well, guess what? Because some of the criticisms that we got on our critical, not cynical, we have taken to heart, and Josh is going to be making interlude version 3.0. Interlude version 2.0 was when we replaced Paul Jenkins' footage with Tyler Donovan's footage, because Paul's issues with Alec. And now version 3.0, we actually do have it edited. We're just sort of waiting for Kevin Croxton to redo the music for the last sequence, the sort of the documentary part of the sequence. And I can't rush Kevin too much because his father's in the hospital right now. So we all wish him the best on that. His mother just had surgery. His father's in the hospital. He's still teaching full time. He got his James Bond fan film with all of his students released. It's winning awards left, right, and center. But the man is very, very busy, and I keep saying, at some point I'm going to have to enter this in film festivals, and deadlines are coming, but I can't really bug him too much about that. Anyway, let's get back to Crossroads. So you are building a set in your mother-in-law's garage. You have a very understanding mother-in-law, apparently.
Yes, right. We're also cleaning it out from 25 years worth of. That's one of the.
That's the deal. They're cleaning it out, and now we get to use it. So you married a woman who can sew and puts up with you, and not only that, sings with you, and has a mother-in-law who's letting you use her garage to make fan films. You are living a blessed life.
That's true. It's so funny that you meet somebody. I look around at a lot of different people who have spouses. They have their things, and you have to be, in a tune with them. But I am lucky. Donna just is just like me, a nerd.
She appears in your fan. You're married to her in your fan film, as a matter of fact.
That is only because Randy threw that at me. That it had to do with
Well, what I always found funny is that her character is, not only your Vulcan doctor, but also your Vulcan counselor. And I was just thinking, is there a worse species to be a psychologist than a Vulcan?
But that's the other thing I'm going to throw out here. STC says that they were the first one to have a counselor in TOS era. We came out before STC.
Oh boy! All righty, it's time to wave your counselor and see who's got the bigger counselor. All righty.
I only laugh because I just, I notice these little things, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Revisionist history bothers me.
No, we don't need revisionist history.
No.
Facts are hard enough. But so anyway, what is going on now with Crossroads Project Gemini? In terms of what are you expecting, or when are you expecting to be filming stuff on it and releasing stuff, or is it too early to tell?
Well, right now we are getting. I have a short vignette that is going to entail Donna and her daughter, who plays our Honduran Ipira. And we're going to be shooting that. We've been trying to get things together. Our house is also being renovated for a couple of things, so I'm having problems shifting stuff around. I've got a small man cave, and I finally got that cleaned up enough. So I think we'll be shooting it out here. And then it's going to be a very short vignette. It's one scene with them, one short scene with me, and we are following the type of Constar pattern of always having that one after credit. So we'll have an after credit with Donna at that point. The next one, we're having a little bit of difficulty on this one. I have one of my cast members, and please keep her in her prayers. Her cancer came back.
Oh.
So she has been, she also works with me, and she's been out. She just had surgery a few weeks ago, and she's still in a lot of pain and doing some chemo. They're pretty sure they got it all, but this is the second time coming back. So we're very worried about her. Trying to get, we do have some footage of her that we could use, but her camera that it was part of a comm box because she's pretending to be on a bridge. I gave her good background, but there was a little bit, I don't like the exact picture quality of it. But I may have to use it. And then we have, this is more of an away mission until we get the bridge built. And then after that one comes out, we have another short vignette that deals with what happened in the longer film. And then hopefully by then I'll have enough of the bridge set that we can go into the back. Right now we have a 10 film movie arc that we're going to be using that's going to lead to a certain point. And then we'll jump off that point and go someplace. So there's going to be some things in there. They're going to move along. There are things that are going to tie us into Antilles universe, Constar universe, but we're our own entity.
Are you considering yourself being in the in a Gemini? I was almost at genitalia. No, I didn't. But are this obviously going to be edited out?
No, that was Jeff Bezos and Kirk.
Maybe I won't edit this out. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Blue Origin. So, orbital insertion. It has a whole new meaning right now. Anyway.
One Dick goes, never mind.
No, don't go there. No, we were already there. Don't go. Pull back. No. Anyway. So,
hell of a pop.
do you consider yourself in a Gemini universe or a Constar universe? Because I know that Vance has now done so much stuff that he's probably no longer in a kind of classic Trek universe because he's almost destroyed the Federation a couple of times. I think we heard about that. Are you sort of seeing that as its own pocket alternate universe or what?
Yeah, in a way it is. I think what it is this all ties into the entire multi-universe concept. And I kind of like that because there's different ways that you can go at it. I mean, as long as the stories are good, they make sense, it doesn't matter. See, I'm also on those lines of, I'm more rigid on costumes and stuff like that. Vance has told me that. He says, I know how you are, Frank, and I know how you like to produce. And that's no big thing. But I also want the story there. Our first one was a lot of talking. There wasn't a lot of action in it, but to me, it was an origin story.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people say, well, you should have phasers and everything else. Well, I'm trying to build characters. I don't want this to be a Frank Parker show. I want this to be a Frank Parker, a Jennifer Nash, a Stephen Hall, Shaylin. I want it to be my crew. Most of my cast come from Bank of America.
So most of your crew is on loan.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. I'll be here all night, folks. Tip your waiters, okay?
Yeah. I have to tell them that yesterday. Yeah, and things may change here and there. From there, I've got Donna and Carolyn. And I don't want it to be a super huge cast. I want it to be a tight cast, and I want us to have fun. I want us to tell a story. And I want to do it the way we did it with Dreadnought. We were a family. We're fun. We're still, we talk to each other. I don't talk to them as much as I did. They've got their projects that they have going on. Gary's got a new series, coming out of his basement on the shuttle pod, not shuttle pod.
Project Runabout.
Project Runabout. I wouldn't mind filming on that set to do, some story. And of course, he said that we could do that anytime. I mean, Randy Wren and I met in the Charlotte area going to junior college together. I mean, so Randy's just down the road from me, but I don't like bothering him because, I know they've got a lot going on with Dreadnought. I mean, they just came back from Charleston. They were doing their first Project Runabout, real big film. They were shooting on the USS Yorktown down in Charleston, down at the Charleston Navy Yard. Navy Yard, Patriots Point.
Well, that's cool stuff. One last question, because I realize we're getting a pretty long interview at this point, but that's okay because you're fun and I'm fun, and together we're a lot of fun. So, when you and Vance are producing together, a lot of people they see this is from No Budget Productions, which is Vance's production company, and Film Ferret Productions, which is yours, and they see that this from both. What does that mean? What are you and Vance doing that defines a production of your two companies?
I think we're sharing a lot of resources back and forth, a lot of talent back and forth, a lot of ideas back and forth.
Now, when you say talent, you don't necessarily mean the people in front of the camera. You mean the people behind the camera and the people after the camera.
Right, exactly.
Like Adam Mullen, for example, who's writing your music, and Sam Cockings to do visual effects, and Sam's, now he has a team, and you're talking about people who can edit for you. Editing is a very, very time-consuming thing. You may, think that it's like iMovie and just, put this scene here, put that scene there, and cut the, no, that's the kindergarten level of editing. And,
right.
Most fan films require at least a high school level of editing. And if you want to do postgraduate school, then, you go to like Josh Irwin.
And we've got some real good editors on us. The editor that I had for the first one was Randy Wren. And he's more than willing to do more editing if I need it. Vance has got people. I think basically what Vance and I teamed up for is because we both have the same philosophy. We have the same type of, we're very much alike. I know it's surprisingly.
You have a long way to go into your beard, is Vance.
Like, I could grow it out. I trimmed it for you tonight. Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did?
You
didn't want to intimidate me, did you?
I'll have to send you a picture of my big black beard I used to have years ago. I just like it trimmed.
This used to be black, by the way. Yeah, all of this was black back when I was young, a young man 20 years ago. Oh, man. Yes, but anyways.
I think it's the fact that working together and, us doing different projects together, I think our major mission is to show people that everybody can work together. Everybody can, no matter who it is behind the camera, no matter who it is, we're doing this because we love what we're doing. And the friendship that Vance and I have formed it's been less than just about a year now. He's like a brother to me. And, I have very few friends that I call that. I've got maybe three. Michael Day's one of them, a guy by the name of Larry Kirby, who is a filking buddy, and Vance. I mean, those are three. They're closer to my brothers. So what we're bringing to the table is our love for Star Trek, our love for working with other people, our love of community, our love of filmmaking, just our love of everything. I think that's what we bring to the table as a team.
Well, what a great way to end this interview. I do thank you for your time, Frank. I'm looking forward to seeing more of sometimes Commodore, sometimes Admiral Sam Grissom. I guess at this point, I probably owe you a shot on your. I don't know if I owe you, but I guess we ping pong back. I have to turn your show now before you turn on mine again, because it's just we keep doing that. I don't know what we talk about. I don't have another fan film to critique. I guess we could just talk about fan films in general. But anyway, but it is a blast to have you back where you belong. We are happy that you returned to fan films. So anyway, any final words for your many fans who are watching this, possibly as many as a dozen?
Yeah, for all the dozens out there, get me a couple donuts and a cup of coffee, I'd be fine. But follow your dream. Whatever it is, whether it's music, whether it's filmmaking, have some fun out there. If it becomes a job, get rid of it. It's not worth it. This I do for fun. I'm never going to make any money out of it. Never going to make any money out of my music. I do it for me. I do it for those out there. If you don't like what I do, hit the button. There's something else out there. Find what is passionate. Find what your passion is and follow it.
Couldn't have said it better myself, but you said it for me, and that's just fine. So I will end this video the way Mystery Science Theater used to end their episodes, by saying, push the button, Frank.
Push the button, Frank.
Want some?
Push the button, Frank.
No, really, I insist.
Push the button.
Have one.
Push the button, Frank.
You're not getting enough to eat.
Push the button, Frank.
No, have some.
Push the button. Want some?
Yeah.
Push the button, Frank.